It's like our powers of computation need to be ameliorated. So only 2 questions? This is the hardest of the homework today, you know. I would say most of, okay, the test is going to be on Friday. This is what the test is. There are 10 problems, 6 points each. So you're going to get 43 points on this test. All right, that's good. Yeah, but there's lots of places where you can make fatal errors. Oh, still only get 2 questions on the board. Leon, take the hit.
Why is the test on Friday? Because it's excited. Because we're doing 4 tonight. And then tomorrow's excited.
Yeah, but we don't have to do all the worksheets because we're not learning anymore already.
Oh.
Yesterday was the last lecture, yeah. So we're just not going to do all the practice. Come on, we're honors. Do we even need a practice test? Because when you go to BC next year, there's no practice test. I don't know why I'm spoon feeding you. Like I'm putting the bib on. Bib, you want mum mum? Here comes mum mum. Ooh, mum mum tastes good. Here's one. Okay, now here we go. 2D. Okay, so when you see a problem like this, you gotta ask yourself, do I want to use like one of the forms that we had, or do you want to use the number line method? Because remember, the number line method works every single time, right? Except the problem with this, if you were to make a number line, what numbers would you put on the number line? What makes this thing 0? If you use the quadratic formula, 3 plus or minus root 5 over 2. So if you're going to use the number line method, then these are the 2 numbers you put on the number line. Did anybody do that? And it came out though, right? Yeah. But who wants to do that? I think it's better if you just use the form. Doesn't this look like an absolute value of gorilla is less than banana? So you put gorilla over here, and then what do you put here and here? Negative banana and banana. And then you have to split it up into 2 inequalities. So A is less than B, and B is less than C. How many points do we get for, well, this is on, well, there is going to be a problem like this on the test, but I don't think you got anything yet. Okay, now you got to actually do something. You got to solve this, you have to solve this, and then you have to find the intersection of the 2. And means intersection. Okay, so how do you solve this inequality? This is like the one we had on the test, on the quiz. How do you solve inequalities? Make one side 0. So x squared minus 3x plus 2 is greater than 0. And same thing here. X squared minus 3x is less than 0. And then what do you do with this side? Once you make this side 0, what do you do to this side? Like on today's quiz, what did you do? Rhymes with factor. You factor it. And then you make a number line. 1, 2, no, no, plus, minus, plus. And we're looking for greater than 0, so it's waka, waka. Okay, now what about this one? You factor it. It's all very mechanical. You make a number line. I'm going to put the number line under here because then when you find the intersection, it's easier to see. They're stacked one on top of the other. So 0 and 3 go on the number line. No, no, plus, minus, plus. And we're looking for less than 0, so we shade in the minus 1, so it's over here. So now, and means intersection. Where do these 2 graphs overlap? What is the intersection of the 2? Between 0 and 1, and between 2 and 3. So that's it. 0 and 1, and 2 and 3. Woo! There's your answer. That's why you have to understand the difference between union and intersection and an OR. Because if this were an OR, then wouldn't the answer be all real numbers? But it's not, it's and, so that's why it's where they overlap. So if you make a and or mistake on the test, that's almost a fatal error. Well, it depends. It could be a fatal error depending on the difficulty of the problem. But otherwise, that's like a -4 at least. And or error. Okay, D, E, F, E. Okay, there's 2 ways to do this. You wanna do this the long way or the short way? Well, here's the long way. Absolute value of gorilla is less than banana. Hey, that's the same thing as this thing over here. So you put gorilla in the middle, and then you put negative banana and banana here, and then you gotta split it up into two. So this A is less than B, and B is less than C. How many people did it this way? Oh, then the rest of you did the short way. What's the short way, Kanaoka?
The line. I actually did the line.
Oh, you did the number line method.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not the short way.
Yeah, I did that.
Oh, so if you do the number line, you put 0 and 1 on the number line.
Yeah.
That'll work. That'll work. Okay, so there are 3 ways of doing it then. Okay, so the rest of you did the number line way. How many of you did something ingenious? How many of you are just copying what I'm writing on the board now onto your paper? I'm afraid to turn around. Oh boy, so what do you want me to do? You want me to continue or you want me to just show you the short way? Okay, now watch what I do. Okay, let's come over here. So, isn't this the same thing as this? Absolute value of 2x over the absolute value of x minus 1 is less than 1. If I see something like this, can I make 2 separate absolute values? Yeah, how do you know I can do that? Because it says so in the note. Doesn't it say this in the note? The absolute value of a over b is equal to the absolute value of a over the absolute value of b. Now, why would I want to do that? Because now I can multiply both sides by the absolute value of x minus 1 because that's positive, right? And then remember how I showed you how to take care of this yesterday? What? Square both sides. Square both sides. In fact, did you guys square both sides on number C? You must have because it's not up there. And then you make one side 0. Whoop. Whoop. And then A, that's a difference of squares. So then you get A plus B, which is 3x minus 1, times A minus B, which is x plus 1, less than 0. You make a number line, -1, 1/3, no, plus, minus, plus, and we're looking for less than 0, so it's in between there. So the answer is between -1 and 1/3, offset, that's your answer. So that would be the short way. But if you can't think of that, then you just gotta do it the long way. Let's just do it the long way for fun since we're getting video. So how do you solve inequalities? You make one side 0, so plus 1 greater than 0, and then 2x over x minus 1 is less than 0. And then you gotta make a least common, this is like today's quiz, except you got 2 of them. So if you make a least common denominator, you get 2x plus x minus 1. And then over here, if you make a least common denominator, you get 2x minus x plus 1. And then if you simplify, you get 3x minus 1 over x minus 1 is greater than 0. And this one is x plus 1 over x minus 1 is less than 0. And you can kind of see how you're getting the numbers already now, yeah? The -1 and the 1/3. Okay, so how do you find this one? You make a number line, 1/3, 1, no, plus, minus, plus, and we're looking for greater than 0, so it's out here and out here. How come, Mr. Prof, how do you know it's plus, minus, plus? Duh, because look, if the leading coefficient is positive, you know this one's going to be plus, and since only get odd powers, you got to alternate, right? We learned that already. And then over here, what goes on the number line? 1 and -1. So -1 and 1, no, plus, minus, plus, except now we're less than 0, so we shade in the minus sign. So once you get these two, you have to find the intersection of them. Where do these graphs overlap? Just look at them. Where do they overlap? Between -1 and 1/3. See, that's the same answer. So no matter what method you use, you're going to get this answer unless you make a mistake, of course. This is practice, people. You gotta, if you don't practice this, oh, it could be a nightmare. It's not that hard. And then F, Didn't I give you an example yesterday that looks almost exactly like this? Yeah, but the numbers were a little bit different. Go to your room. X plus 2. Okay, now when you have more than two absolute values, pretty much you have no choice. You got to do the number line method. So I'm going to have definitely one of these on the test. Okay. So what numbers go on the number line? 0, 3, and -2. things that make each absolute value 0. Now, is -2 part of the solution? Did you guys at least do that part? Miyaoka, -2. Part of the solution or not? Huh? Open circle or closed circle? Open circle. What about 0? 10? Huh? 3 is less than 2, so that's false. And then what about 3? Quack. Yes. Okay, wrong quack, but that's okay. Okay, now we have 4 regions. Think of a number bigger than 3. 4. Positive, positive, positive. So you leave it alone, you leave it alone, you leave it alone. These cancel out, so you get x is less than 5. How do I graph x is less than 5 only over here? Well, you put a 5 on the number line and you go to the left, until you stop right there. Okay, next region. Think of a number between 0 and 3, like 1. This is positive, so you leave it alone. 1 minus 3 is negative, so you gotta negate it. And then 1 plus 2 is positive, so you leave it alone. So you get negative x is less than 1, x is greater than -1. Wait a minute, something's wrong here. Because that's -1, so this is positive 1. So how do you graph x is greater than 1 only over here? Well, you put a 1 there and you go to the right, to the right. Okay, now what about in between here? Think of a number between -2 and 0, -1. That's negative, so you negate it. -1 minus 3 is negative, you negate it. -1 plus 2 is positive, so you leave it alone. So you get -3x is less than -1, x is greater than 1/3. How do you graph x is greater than 1/3 right there? No, can't, so there's no solution for that interval. Anyway, Mr. Rubash, I was talking to him yesterday, he was telling me about the thermostat. Except he told me and I forgot already. Something about if it's positive, you just don't touch the thermostat. But then if it's negative, then you turn on the thermostat. Which means, I guess, negated. Whatever works. Think of a number smaller than -2, like -3. This one's negative, and they're all negative, so you negate them all. So negate it, negate it, negate it. Ooh, did I put a line there? So what do we got? What do we got? What do we got? Negative x is less than -5, x is greater than 5. How do I graph x is greater than 5 right there? No can. So there's no solution for that one. So whatever you have on your number line, that's the answer. So the answer is between 1 and 5. Woo. The number line method works every single time, no matter what. So on this test, you cannot know anything and just do the number line method all the time, except sometimes it's going to take you longer. Well, of course, not on the binomial term. And then number 3, the graphs. Okay, now yes, you are going to have one graph on the test. I'll just take the 94, Mr. Clark. 3, 8. And like I told you yesterday, you don't want to just plot points. Like in these two problems, you could actually just plot points, yeah? Did anybody do that? And did it come out? Yeah, that's because these are lines, but on the test, not going to have lines. So you're going to have the right concavity and things like that. So it's not going to work. Okay, does that fit one of the forms that we have? Absolute value of gorilla equal banana. Wait, let me look at my notes. Absolute value of x equals a. Oh yeah, that means x equals a or x equal -a, right? Okay, so doesn't this mean x plus y equal 1 or x plus y equal -1? If you follow the form. Okay, now do you know how to graph this? It's a line, people. Do you know how to graph this? It's a line, yes. And do we know how to unionize? Yes. Okay, so how do you graph this line? The fastest way is to do intercept. So x-intercept 1, y-intercept 1, and then... Okay, this graph, x-intercept -1, the y-intercept is -1, and then... Okay, now what does union mean? If I throw all of these points in a box, and I throw all of these points in the box, what's in the box? That. Everything. Or means union. So the graph is simply two parallel lines like that. Yeah, that's kind of simple. Yeah, because that's not the one on the test. Yeah. Okay, B. Now on the test, you're not gonna get the hint now. You just gotta know that you gotta do this. So when you see absolute values on the x's and the y's separately, then what you have to do is you gotta go by quadrants, because that's the hint. So in the first quadrant, what can you say about x and y? They're both positive, right? X is positive, y is positive. So you leave it alone, and you leave it alone. Right? If the inside is positive, leave it alone. Now what's that graph? It's a line, but you're only gonna graph it in the first quadrant, because that's how we wrote that. So here's 1. So in the first quadrant only, you graph this line. You don't graph the whole line now, only in the first quadrant. So x-intercept, y-intercept, boom! See how we're connected with straight lines? Because these are lines, but on the test, they'll be lines. I'm just telling you that right now. Okay, move to the second quadrant. X is negative and y is positive. So what do? You negate it and y is positive, so you leave it alone. So draw this line in the second quadrant only. So the x-intercept is -1 and the y-intercept is 1, so boom, but we're only graphing in the first quadrant only. Oh, it's taking shape. Third quadrant, both x and y are negative. So negate it and negate it. So negate it, negate it. Hey, that's a line. X-intercept is -1, y-intercept is -1. The line looks like this, but you're only graphing it in the first quadrant. Fourth quadrant, x is positive, but y is negative. So leave that one alone, negate the y. Hey, that's a line. X-intercept is 1, y-intercept is -1. The line looks like this, but you're only graphing it in the fourth quadrant. And then whatever you see, that's the graph. Oh, it's a square. And it's tilted. That's pretty. Okay, now tonight you're going to get another shot at this. Oh, where's the other thing? You're going to get another shot. So it's going to be something like this, but then, I don't want to give everything away, but it's not going to be lines, so you just can't plot points and connect the dots. You can try, but it's going to be very painful. Okay, I'll give you a hint then. You want a hint? Yeah, no need hint yet. You want a hint? What if there's a power on this? Like, squared. Then instead of each quadrant getting lines, then each quadrant you got parabolas. But now that since I told you square, now it's got to be cube. But now that I told you cube, it's going to be fourth power. Now that it's fourth power, now it's going to be fifth power. Now that it's fifth, I'm going to go back down to 2. It's going to have some kind of power there. That's what's going to happen. And then let me look at tonight's homework. Oh, I just told everybody in the video that. What's the purpose? Are you guys even looking at the examples? Oh my gosh! You guys made me do that one yesterday, and it's like right here. The inequality on the calculator. It's like right there. I want to hurt something right now. Oh, look at tonight's one. Wow. So tonight's graph is the same thing as that, except got a minus in between. Same thing. Hopefully you can do that. So this is a practice test now. This test looks like it came from like 15 years ago. I don't know. Pretty much every test looks the same. Okay, so we got extended, so that means you're only going to get one practice test this time. Why? How many practice tests are in the packet? 2. One is enough. Where is it? 4, 5. Yeah, but 4 and 5, it's like the same thing. But then we should practice on, so we're good. So extended, this is what we planned for extended. We'll go over the thing. Am I meeting you tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow. So we'll go over the homework and the quiz, which could be painful. And then we'll do like a couple problems from the other practice tests, and then we're going to start watching Donald Duck and Mathemagic Land. How many people you saw that before? Only one person? Did your parents show you like Disney videos when you were small? Like 101 Dalmatians? But not Donald Duck and Mathemagic Land. See, that's why I have to do it. So that's what we're gonna do. It's made for kids, but then, see, the older you get, then if you watch it, then you get a different sense of mathematics when you watch it. Even though it's made for kindergartners. Okay, the bell's gonna ring in 1 minute.